This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, football fans. Welcome to The Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the Mark Weber.
Dub them E's.
And today on the podcast, Mark, we're talking about a little bit of Patriots coming down with some penalties, because I'm trying to avoid a word right now. You know a word I'm trying to avoid.
I don't blame you for trying to avoid the deflate-ocalypse.
Deflate-ocalypse. We'll use that one. NFL comes down and says, okay, here's your punishment. Tom Brady, you're done for 4 games. First 4 games of the season, you're kibosh. No good. The Patriots will also have to pay some money, pony up some money, and they lose a first-round pick this year and a 4th-round pick next year. Here's what we're going to start with, though, Mark. Is it time to go with Jimmy Garoppolo? Is Tom Brady done in New England?
Well, it's important information in this topic to mention the last time Tom Brady did not play for an extended period of time. And Mark Castle, who really cares about that guy, really? But Matt Castle, he comes in, he does great things for the Patriots. He goes and gets himself a nice big contract. Doesn't do anything, as I'm sure Ricky remembers. He doesn't do anything for your teams, but
he went to the Chiefs first.
Yeah, but then he eventually was showing up on your Vikings.
But he went to the Chiefs first. Let's get
Doesn't
that
matter.
right.
He sucked everywhere. But he got himself a big contract. Now, circumstances are a little different. I know Tom Brady claims he's going to play well into his 40s, but he's an old man. He's played in plenty of Super Bowls, gotten you plenty of success, but eventually you do look to the future. If Jimmy Garoppolo goes out in those first 4 games, he lights it up. He's 4-0. He's got that great completion percentage that we all know he can do. He's getting good rapport with everybody. His QBR is fantastic. There is a serious question in New England. You might have to say the era of Tom Brady is over. Much like the era of Tom Brady begun, the era of Tom Brady is now done, and it might be time to go with Jimmy Garoppolo, the young blood who is being successful with your team.
I'm not smelling it. Because the main reason being is it's Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And Garoppolo can go out there. When I first saw that Tom Brady was going to be done for the first 4 games of the season, not just the first 4 weeks, the first 4 games, because Patriots have an early week 4 bye in there. So he's going to miss week 1, 2, 3, and then 5. I said, there's no way that the Patriots, they can go 2-2 in this span.
Oh, yeah.
They may even go 3-1 in this span if Garoppolo plays well enough and Tom Brady comes back to a team at Indianapolis on October 18th and says, hey, we're 3-1. Let's go get this. You beat the Colts again with properly inflated balls.
Possibly still, the Colts only getting 7 points. We assume they'll get more this time. Who knows?
Well, can they run the ball with Frank Gore?
Oh,
it's going to be the thing.
If you can't run the ball with Frank Gore, I don't know what you're doing out there. But here's one thing I want to say with the whole Tom Brady thing. Remember, he's going to be 38 at the start of the season. By the time he plays, he is 38 years old. You're sitting there and you're saying, because here's the thing I think with Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe he will. I don't personally know him. I know Ricky knows him personally. They hang out every other Tuesday. But
I wish.
But we don't know what Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do if he goes out there, lights it up. Everybody's talking about him.
I hope he does.
He's going out. He's getting his Sports Center highlights. First Take's talking about him every morning. They're going on and on and on. We don't know what's going to happen week 5. When in practice, or week 6, I should say, when in practice, Bill Belichick says, all right, take your seat, Jimmy. We don't know what's going to happen there. Is there a rift? I doubt it because it's Tom Brady, but do some of the guys in the locker room go, man, this Jimmy, he's really lighting it up? Or are people going, this is Tom Brady. We're sticking with Tom Brady. But even just on Jimmy Garoppolo's stance, does he at that point go, all right, trade me. You still got time?
No.
Because
I don't think he does.
It's hard to say because we don't know him, and we can't make this assessment. And especially, we've seen him play for what is FBS or FCS. FCS is Eastern Illinois.
Yeah.
Which stands for fake college. No, I'm kidding. But
no, it's the football. Isn't it the football championship series?
I think it is championship
and FBS
as opposed to bowl. Yeah. But really, what it means is
D1.
Those guys
It's
don't really.
D1A and D1.
Yeah.
Or D1
D1B.
2A and D1A.
D1A, D1B.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he never had this. But once he starts getting that spotlight,
See, I don't.
does he pull a Tom Brady now I got the ego?
No, Garoppolo's not that guy. To me, this is how it's going to play out.
You assume he's not that guy.
Garoppolo's going to come in. He's going to play those 4 games, good or bad. Let's say he goes 3-1. Best situation, because I don't think they go 4-0. I just don't think so. It could happen. Either 4-0, 3-1. Tom Brady comes back. He goes, okay, Tom, I held the place for you. Take your team back. Because Garoppolo knows in his head that Tom Brady's not going to be there forever, and all he's got to do is do the right thing.
But why doesn't
he's going to take the reins?
Why doesn't that era start now?
Because it doesn't have to.
But it should. I mean, my thing is for Jimmy Garoppolo.
This is not the Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe situation. No, it's not.
It can be.
Drew Bledsoe was not as good of a quarterback as Tom Brady is.
Tom
Brady
is great, but you can also argue that I'm not saying Tom Brady is not amazing, but Bill Belichick helps out.
And this is also not
amazing.
a Andrew Luck pushing Peyton Manning out of town or the Colts saying, we're done with
Andrew
you
Luck didn't really do
to
much.
get Andrew Luck.
But I think that honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm mostly arguing devil's advocate at this point. But I think there is a worthwhile for Kraft and for Belichick to see the longevity of their team and say, this 38-year-old, we need to follow the Indianapolis Colts route if Jimmy Garoppolo does really well. Jimmy Garoppolo goes out there and wins 1 game. You're saying, okay, thank God Tom Brady's back. But if he goes out there and wins 3 games, you have to think, 38-year-old quarterback, how much longer do we have? If it's just 1 season, okay. But you're not even thinking about You also got to think about the fact of Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, we might think he's a stand-up great guy. Maybe he is. I honestly don't know. I've never met him. But if he does sit there and get that bench spot back, at first he might be fine. He might say, okay, I can do this for a season. But he's sitting there in his head. He's never going to have the opportunity to ask Tom Brady, is this the last season? Or is next season the last season? How long do I have to sit on this bench? Because I can get traded today. I can get traded today to a team that needs me. There's going to be some quarterback that gets injured. Someone on a good team will get injured. And Jimmy Garoppolo can go there and play.
Garoppolo's not going to do that. And the reason why I say that is he knows that, we know that Tom Brady, the end is coming. Sooner rather than later, Tom Brady's career is going to be done. He's going to hang up the cleats because not many quarterbacks get past 40.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say 2 years at the least is what we're looking at. And Garoppolo.
Do you really want to sit around for 2 seasons?
Yeah, well, you know what? If it's me, I don't really care because if I can play, I can play. And with Garoppolo, I'd rather be in a nice situation in New England than trade me. You get traded to Cleveland, your career's over. That could happen.
But I think
you get traded to Cleveland, your career's over.
But we got to remember the Patriots before Tom Brady were good. The Patriots before Tom Brady were good. But when Tom Brady came in there, that's what changed things.
Just elevated it.
And I know I said that the Belichick system helps, and I do agree that it does help. But there's no guarantees anywhere in the NFL. Tom Brady leaves, this team could fall apart. You no longer have the attraction of Tom Brady. You got players who had those big contracts or things like that, and they're saying, hey, I'm going to go play with Andrew Luck. I'm going to go play with this young guy out of, take your pick, whether it's the Vikings, whether it's Florida, either any of the Florida teams because they have new quarterbacks. Yeah. But, there might be some of those type of situations. There's not the draw anymore.
I don't think
there's
Garoppolo
a guarantee.
Gets traded. I don't think he even asked for a trade. He just sits back, waits for his time.
I just think, for me, if I'm standing here, I think the questions for me are, I don't know when Tom Brady's going to leave. This is going for both the management and for Jimmy. I don't know how long he's going to have to sit. You might have to think about somewhere else. And the New England Patriots do not want Jimmy Garoppolo to go anywhere. They think they've got their quarterback post Tom Brady.
Well, you know who their third stringer is, right?
Probably some garbage quarterback.
Gilbert. Remember the guy from SMU that Dave liked that completed, I want to say, all of his passes on his pro day?
Yeah.
2 years ago?
That's good.
No, not 2 years ago. 1 year ago. It was last year. Completed all his passes on his pro day.
Yeah.
He was great. Drafted by the Rams. Yeah, he's their third stringer.
Nice.
So if Garoppolo doesn't work, They got another guy behind him that has high potential.
Assuming that he survives the offseason.
I'm saying high potential.
Yeah, I mean, they might cut him because why do you need 3 quarterbacks?
Here's the bigger question that I'm going to throw your way, and it kind of pains me to ask this question, and I'm going to be ESPN-y with this question because they asked
Sometimes
it yesterday.
you got to do it.
How does this affect this whole thing? Affect Tom Brady's legacy? I'm just going to come out and say, how does it affect his legacy?
I don't think it does. I think he already was associated with Spygate, therefore a scandal doesn't matter. If this was his first scandal, it would tarnish the legacy. But he already has the cheater Belichick legacy about him anyways.
Is that right that we should then say, oh, well, he's just a cheater, whatever? Because I feel like a lot of people, I'm not one of them.
Yeah, a lot of people are discounting him right now.
There's a lot of butthurt people that are like, oh, he's a cheater. We should take away the Super Bowl. We should do this because there's no way they should be winners.
Yeah, I'm not
because they're cheaters.
First of all, I'm not even going to, coming from the people Ricky is representing here, I'm not even going to entertain that argument.
I'm just saying they're out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree with you. It's an argument that I don't think is worth entertaining because you don't win 45-7 because of deflated balls.
Can I take this for 2 seconds? Maybe a little longer.
Okay.
This is what I feel. For everyone out there that's saying, number one, that they should vacate the Super Bowl from the Patriots, there is one reason why we cannot have that, even that discussion. I'll say discussion at the least, because the Patriots won the Super Bowl on their defense. Malcolm Brown made a play at the goal line to win them the game. Now, if it's the other way around, Patriots down by 3, they're at the Seattle 40-yard line. Tom Brady drops back, zips a game-winning touchdown to Julian Edelman. I'm sitting here right now going, okay, we can have that discussion at least. Do I agree with you and say they should? No, because they won without deflated balls, with regular-sized balls in the Super Bowl. But if that was the case, I'd say, okay, I'll let you have your discussion, because at least Tom Brady really won you the game. It wasn't a defensive play. If the Seahawks run the ball like they should have, no one's even talking about that, oh, we should take the Super Bowl away. In that case, it's karma. They don't have it. Yeah.
In that case, it's karma. But I don't mind what you're saying, Ricky, but the thing I will disagree with is that, like I said, the Colts scored 1 single touchdown. Andrew Luck did not do well in that game. The Colts,
they didn't run the ball as well either.
They did not. The Colts honestly did not deserve to be in that game. They're lucky that the Broncos played as terribly as they did in the game prior. Not discounting the Colts, but they just were not as good of a team as the Patriots. They were outclassed completely. Yes, deflated balls. Maybe it did get you 1 or 2 extra touchdowns you wouldn't got. You still would have won. And then when it came to the Super Bowl, they made such a big deal about those balls being properly inflated that what's the big deal? The one thing I do want to say, and like to finish up the thing before about tarnishing Tom Brady's legacy, I don't think it matters.
No,
I think he's fine.
I don't think it does either.
I think the thing
I hate those, and like I said,
the legacy type of questions.
I hate it because it's like Tom Brady has done so much. He's won I think he's tied for the most Super Bowl wins. He's been to the most Super Bowls out of any player in the NFL.
I think here's the thing about Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady as a player. I do not like him as a person. I think he's a bad person. But this is going back to when he left his wife for a supermodel while his wife was pregnant. I think that's just a horrible thing to do. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter. You mentioned Tom Brady. My mom will bring it up and say, you remember when he left his wife for the model? And things happen. I don't want to be super, I don't understand that, I wasn't in the situation, but on an outside perspective, it looks bad. So I will never have that great of a perspective of Tom Brady as a person. As a player, fantastic. I don't think that matters.
I'm going to go Tom Waddle on this for a second. And all I can think of is, and this is such a Tom Waddle comment on ESPN Chicago radio, is he would just say, you know what? This doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, he's still going home to Giselle.
Oh, he is.
Still gets to go home to his smoking hot wife.
Yeah. Which,
while we go back to our mundane existence.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tom Brady he wears his Ugg boots, way above us. But I think
Ugg boots.
The legacy thing, where I was going with that, I never viewed Tom Brady as a good person anyways, but fantastic player.
But he's a great player.
I think it looks worse for Belichick. is who the legacy hurts more.
I'm going to ask
because
you,
Belichick is known for the reason why he wins things is for cheating.
Now
even though that's not necessarily accurate.
You said you don't see Tom Brady as a good person.
Yes.
What do you feel then when there's been so many times today, at least, I've heard experts on all these sports talk platforms call him the golden boy. Oh, like Goodell wanted to do this to get at the golden boy quarterback.
Well, I think the golden boy statement represents more than that. And
they're putting him on a pedestal is what you're saying?
Well, I think it's saying more of he looks the part of a golden boy.
He's a good-looking guy.
He's a good-looking guy. He's a white guy. I don't want to do the whole race thing. Not worth the discussion right now, but he is a white quarterback. We do like those. He looks pretty. He's got his blue American eyes. He's got his blonde hair. He looks super nice when he's dressed up. He just looks good. People like, this is going into psychology, but people like people who look good. So we all like Tom Brady because we all wish we could be Tom Brady because he has the hot supermodel wife. You know, it's just we all want to be Tom Brady and everybody wants to be the quarterback. My favorite scene in one of my favorite shows, Friday Night Lights, is when he has open tryouts for his football team, the East Dillon Lions. Spoiler alert, sorry guys. But he asks every player, what position you want to play? I want to play quarterback. What position? He got the big 300-pound guy, defensive lineman. What position are you going to play? Quarterback. Everybody wants to be Tom Brady. So I think this kind of, when you get rid of, you suspend Ray Rice, you suspend Adrian Peterson, I hate to say it, but people kind of don't view that as the same as when you suspend the guy who's the leader of the team, the pretty boy, the guy who we want his life. People aren't saying they want Adrian Peterson's life. They want Ray Rice's life. They want Tom Brady's life. So when you do that, that's where the golden boy comments are coming from. And I think it does have a purpose. Goodell knows he can't suspend Tom Brady for a full season. Well, and he did the maximum he knows he can do.
I was actually going to say that because I hear how many times today when I was watching Around the Horn and PTI when I came home before I came here to the podcast where everyone's saying, oh, well, Goodell put the hammer down on Tom Brady. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I get like what you're saying where this was like the maximum that he could do. But for me, if you want to lay the hammer down, you be that guy and say full season. Yeah. That's it. Full season.
I agree.
That would be putting the hammer down.
The hammer has not been laid down at all.
The foot is down, as my dad would say.
He gave as much as he could give. And this was a very political decision of Goodell knowing Kraft is powerful. He's got a lot of pull. I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds because these owners only like me because I make money. When I start costing them money, they're not happy.
And it's interesting that you say that because there are people saying there's reports coming out that because of this suspension, not just Tom Brady's suspension, but the $1 million that the Patriots have to pony up and the 2 draft picks they're losing, that the Kraft-Goodell relationship is cut now and that Kraft is going to try to use his power to sway these other owners to push Goodell right out of the NFL.
I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly wouldn't. I don't necessarily think that's happening, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
And a good, I'm not going to say good. I'd say a good observation that I heard on PTI today was if you look at Goodell at the draft in Chicago, not just booed by the Jets fans that got bussed in, he was booed by every fan base.
Pretty much.
Every single fan base booed him.
The one saving grace he did have was, of course, the Chicago fans because they were just happy that we finally had something in Chicago. That's all. Nobody else likes him. I think a lot of the Goodell hate is deserved, and I think a good amount of it is overblown. Because what is the commissioner's job? Make money for the NFL. What does Roger Goodell do better than any commissioner has ever done? Make money for the NFL. He's done his job better than anybody else has. He's made some real bonehead decisions, but he does his job better than anybody else.
And I know you didn't want to touch into this. I'm not going to touch into it like you said with the race stuff. I'm just saying, just in general.
Yeah.
With this whole year for me, when it comes to Roger Goodell, has been the year, I call it like the year of penalties or the year of what's a good word to use? Just handing out punishments for other players, where he had Ray Rice. He hands out the whole investigation leading up to that, handled terribly.
Yeah.
Comes out with a punishment. Nobody likes it. Everyone thinks that it's terrible. Then you got the Adrian Peterson thing, and it kind of seemed like, okay, we're going to do this to compensate for point A that happened. And I feel like this being the third thing, it's more like Goodell was like, I got to, like, what do I do to make people happy? Because he couldn't go into this and make people mad, whether it's New England fans, Bear fans, Viking fans. He cannot have one more problem where people hate him, because then, I mean, for us as a fan, I could say, wow, I really hate him and what he did, but I'm still going to watch on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it defeats the point. The only people that are going to push him out of the league are the owners.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's not enough fans that'd be like, you know what? I hate you. I'm going to stop watching football until you're gone.
Yeah, no one's
going to do that.
Everybody who complained about every suspension, whether it was Josh Gordon and the Weeds thing,
watch that next Sunday.
Yeah, they all came back, and they all will continue coming back. And that's kind of it's the rock in the hard place. It's the sport you love being hurt in your own eyes, but you're never going to stop watching. You're never going to stop cheering.
Do you think Kraft tries to push him out?
I don't, actually. I think Goodell makes too much money. I think there might be some discussion about it, some thoughts about it, but I think Kraft is a good businessman. He knows these 4 games don't hurt me that much.
I'm going to ask you a question. Getting back to the actual investigation, the Wells report.
Okay.
What were your thoughts when Tom Brady didn't give his because the big thing that everyone's saying is, oh, well, Tom Brady should have gave his texting records over to Wells for the report, and he said no. Yeah, him and Belichick said, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. Not going to cooperate."
The logic, of course, it's better to not cooperate than to give them the smoking gun, essentially, because the thing that this report really does miss is the thing that says Tom Brady did it. You have things alluding to it, you have hints at it, but you don't have Tom Brady on camera.
Or
deflating
the text
balls.
message.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have the one thing you need to say, go on for a season. So that's smart. I mean, it's the same thing that Aaron Hernandez tried to do. He didn't want to cooperate. He smashed his phone. It's a common thing. When you're in trouble, it's much better to get the lesser trouble of not cooperating than it is to get the smoking gun out there. So, I mean, in the criminal, not that this isn't necessarily criminal, but in the kind of, I'll use the word criminal. It's just easier. But in the criminal aspect of it, this was the correct move to do. Once again, though, it completely makes me think, okay, you are lying. You did the bad. You did the deed here. You wanted this done. There's evidence that you were trying to hide for it right now. It makes me think of you even worse. But I mean, I guess it was for him, it was the lesser of two evils, and it was what he thought he would play more games with. And I don't disagree with that, because now he's not going to be able to appeal if they do have the smoking gun in this case, to continue using that metaphor. But with them not really having something definitive, he can appeal this and maybe get it reduced to 3 games, maybe 2.
They're talking about 2.
Yeah, like he can possibly
knocked
get
down to 2. He's back by Jacksonville week 3.
And Jackson would go, no, please. We thought we'd win a game this season.
Here's the thing, and to kind of point on to that, when you said he could appeal this, get it knocked down to 2, one of the points that was touched upon on PTI, and we're going to talk about it right now, they mentioned, and it was very brief, do you think this suspension for Tom Brady was, you know what, kind of a negotiation type thing? Like, okay, let's give him 4. He appeals, it goes down to 2. Instead of let's give him 2, he appeals, it goes to 0.
Yeah.
Or let's give him more, it goes to 4.
I actually completely agree with the negotiation idea, because that, I mean, people always get outraged by things where like, this is so much, or like, why are you asking for so many of whatever you're asking for? Because they don't realize that everything is a negotiation. I mean, I think the perfect example is when like McDonald's workers are asking for $15 an hour and everyone's going, how could you possibly ask for $15 an hour? Because they don't want $15 an hour. Yeah, they want it, but they want 12. 12 is what they're aiming for. If they ask for 15, they will go from 9 to 12. Boom. There you go. This is how negotiations work. So in this case, there probably is a little bit of Goodell saying 4 is the maximum I can do. I'm happy if I get 2. In this case, he gets that appeal. Maybe Goodell, in the NFL are going to win this appeal. And nope, Tom Brady does get 4. Then they're thrilled. But if they do have to lower it down and they only get 2, they're like, good. That's what we were hoping for in the first place anyways.
And the one thing that I'm thinking about with all of this is, I mean, the negotiation thing, I feel like when people say, oh, no, he didn't do that. He felt like it should be 4 games. If he felt like it should have been 4 games, he would have made it 6. Because in today's NFL, when someone gets a suspension handed out, what's the first thing the agent or the player says?
Immediately appeal.
I'm going to appeal it.
Yep.
Because there's a chance of me getting it reduced.
For sure.
So if I wanted it to be 4 games, I'm going to give him 6. Or I'm going to give him 8. Because
it's simple negotiation.
It may get appealed down to 4 instead of 2.
And the thing about this, too, you got to think about the players involved are... players is not necessarily a good word in this case, but the characters involved. We got Roger Goodell, excellent businessman, one of the best businessmen in the country. Look how much money he makes his company, the NFL. And we have sports agents. What are they? Businessmen. They're salesmen, basically. They are businessmen. They all know what they're doing. They're all negotiating this. The salesman here of the sports agent walks in going, hey, I know that 4 isn't what he really thinks he can get. That's just what he's pushing in a little bit. We can get that lowered down. And Goodell, of course, going, I want 2. I know I got to raise this up because if I ask for 2, it's going to get reduced to 1. I don't want it to get reduced to 1. I want it to stay at 2, so let's ask for 4. It's just simple negotiation. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect.
Well, and one of the other things this is what I found interesting when I was hearing, when they first came out with yesterday, it was breaking news, here's the suspension and everything. There was one comparison that I thought was interesting. Someone, I can't remember who on ESPN, compared it to the Saints when they had the whole bounty gate. And I know, Mark, how you love how we just put gate
It's
at the end
best
of the
way
word.
to make people angry.
But they were talking about how when the Saints had all their punishments come down, they tried to plead just ignorance. Oh, we didn't know it was going on. We can't punish us if we didn't know. And the NFL said, nope.
You know who else
not
tried
an excuse.
that? The Nazis.
Patriots. Oh,
The Nazi. That's I always love when people do the just following orders, or the I didn't know there was a thing
but that's
right
what
there.
Belichick and even Brady tried to do. More Belichick of, I didn't know what was going on. You're going to have to ask Tom. And the NFL said, not an excuse. Here's your punishment.
To be fair, I want to clarify that I make the sensationalist comment because I love the sensationalism of adding gate to things. That's why that comment was made. But it's just the whole thing with this. I don't necessarily know that I would compare it to the Saints. I mean,
no, they were saying you can't plead ignorance.
Oh, that you can't.
That's what
plead
they were comparing. Of the NFL's not going to say, oh well. You know what, Bill? You didn't know what was going on, so we're only going to suspend Brady. The Patriots are fine.
Yeah. Although
especially when a guy like Belichick already has a thing like Spygate on his record.
It is interesting. I never actually really, until now, put 2 and 2 together that Belichick is fine. He's nothing with him. Like, he didn't get any penalties, any suspension.
Well, I mean, they lose a draft pick, which I'm assuming they're saying that's going to hurt Belichick. But here's the interesting part about that draft pick. When I saw they lose a first rounder, the first thing I thought of was, why? The Patriots don't use their first round.
Yeah.
Like, this year, the only reason they used their first rounder is because nobody wanted to trade up. Nobody wanted to trade up, so they're like, fine, we'll make the pick. Otherwise, the Patriots are looking to trade back to get guys like Brady in the 5th, 6th round.
Yeah, that's why I saw something with it where they were like, yeah, they lose their first round pick, and my first thought is, you mean they lose a 2/3 and a 4th.
Yeah.
Like, they're not losing the first round pick. They're losing all these extra picks they get, which, I mean, yeah, I guess it hurt. And the $1 million, I laugh at that because, yeah, it's a big amount for any of us. But we're sitting there going, Robert Kraft and the Patriots, they're sitting thinking $1 million. Okay. whatever. I use it as a napkin. Like they're fine with it. They don't care about $1 million. They're going to make it back in a day. You know, when Tom Brady comes back with all the media coverage they're going to get, they're going to make $1 million, no problem. It's not an issue. I think, I don't know. It just kind of, it's weird because you can't really do anything to the entire organization. It's not like you're going to be the NCAA and give, you know, SMU the death penalty. You know, it's not like this is going to happen. But it's weird when you have, and plus we should also remember that teams cheat. It happens. It happens all the time. Every
some
season,
teams get caught, some don't.
Yeah, every season, multiple teams cheat, and there's teams that cheated this past season that you didn't realize cheated. And the Patriots, as much as they're known for being the team that cheats, they're not actually the team that cheats the most. But, and for those of you, there is a website, you can Google it, I don't know the thing, for looking up like the reported when teams cheat. I think it's called Your Team Cheated. I'm Googling it right now because I want to check. Yeah, yourteamcheats.com. Go look up and see what your NFL team, how often they cheat. Ricky, both of our teams are towards the bottom, so we're fine.
Yeah,
Vikings and Bears, we're
don't
towards
really
the bottom.
cheat.
Bears cheated less than the Vikings, I think, or maybe it was the other way around. Whichever way it was, it kind of surprised me.
I don't remember us. Like, the only thing I could even think of us cheating is if Randy Moss did something, but he's the only one I would point a finger at.
And he probably did.
I mean, he was a great receiver, don't get me wrong, but he's the only guy on any Vikings team I grew up with that I'd be like, if we cheated, yeah, it was him. Unless you're
Vikings are a little higher than the Bears.
Unless you're going to count the what Chris Carter said on ESPN, where everyone used a little stickum.
Everybody did use a little stickum. They're marking down, just to get through this real quick for the Vikings, because I'm curious. They're marking down, of course, performance enhancing drugs.
Oh yeah.
Noise gate, because they like to add gate to things, which is basically just using fake noise in your dome stadium. Bounty gate from the 90s. You guys had a bounty gate too. Cheaps gate. Basically cheap shots and illegal hits. Like I said, they just add gate to things. And heater gate, which was, I guess, increasing the temperature is what I'm going to guess with that. Every team cheats. Basically, I'm pointing out the Vikings ones because, you know, I like to make fun of Ricky as he's wearing a Vikings hat and a Vikings shirt.
Hey, you're wearing the Bears hat.
No Bears shirt, though. I'm not swagged out enough.
There's one last thing I want to bring up.
Okay.
And the only reason I want to bring this up is we've got a little bit of time on the podcast. And for the next 2 weeks, this week, if also we can make this announcement that to the MVP Network, we're launching a new podcast called the Primetime Podcast for myself and Brandon Swanson, old friend of the Onside Kick. We'll be talking about college sports each and every Monday. That podcast is going to drop on our YouTube and SoundCloud. We were going to originally talk about this, but because of recent news in college and the NBA draft, this is going to get passed up. So I want to mention it here since we got some time.
Okay.
You love mock drafts.
I'm a big
love
fan.
Mock drafts.
Big fan.
Well, Todd McShay said 4 days ago, hey, I'm going to come out with my way too early 2016 NFL mock draft. And here's how this worked is all of the it's all Football Outsiders projected records. That's how he came up with the draft order. And then he just went down the line. So the first two picks, Redskins 5-11, Browns 5-11.
Look at all these 5-11 teams. That's
Guess
funny.
who they're taking? Quarterbacks.
Yeah.
However, there's one quarterback that he has on here that I didn't even think about.
Who's
He's
that?
in the Big Ten, is Christian Hackenberg.
Oh.
Did not even think about him. My mind was, when we were talking last week in our draft recap about how some of the guys that could come out, I was all about Connor Cook, Michigan State, Cardell Jones, Broxton Miller. Christian Hackenberg could come out.
Which also, funny thing about this, Cardell Jones is the
Jets.
quarterback of the Buckeyes, according to this. That's what they're predicting. So,
He did win a national title.
He did, but a lot of people are saying, no, it's Broxton Miller. But, you know, quarterback X of the Buckeyes. I just think it's great that, like I like to say, teams that draft quarterbacks continue to draft quarterbacks in the first round. Washington's doing it. Cleveland pulling the perfect after they had a draft that was not a Cleveland Browns style draft. They're coming back and going, you know what? We're going for it. Give us quarterback 23, I think is what we're at now.
However, the only difference is that number 31 pick is not going to be a Patriot pick.
No.
It's going to be a Seahawk pick because I assume that when they forfeit that pick, it's just 31 picks in the first round, right?
Yeah, I doubt anyone. No one would pick it up. It wouldn't make sense.
That would be stupid, right?
Yeah.
And here's the things that jumped out at me from this draft. First off, like we said, Redskins, Hackenberg, Browns, Connor Cook. They both go quarterbacks. How about the Jets going Cardell Jones? My Vikings going offensive tackle, Ronnie Staley out of Notre Dame. Okay, you can pick up something to protect Teddy Bridgewater, but I'm looking to trade up to get a wide receiver like Duke Williams. And then Todd McShay's got your Bears going, we want wide receiver BPA. We're going to go safety out of Florida State this time.
Which we need one of those. Honestly, the Bears have so many needs, so it's not really too big of a deal.
Actually, no, scratch that. If this was the exact order, and let's say Duke Williams is off, you know who I'm taking at number 10 if I'm the Vikings?
Who's that?
Laquan Treadwell. You know where Laquan Treadwell's from, Mark?
Auburn.
Creekmoney.
Oh, really?
It's a Creekmoney guy.
That's nearby
That's around
Chicago.
us. That's around us.
Well, it's not really nearby Chicago, but it's
the suburbs.
It's not a
Kind
suburb.
of.
It's not a suburb.
Kind of.
It's a suburb of the suburbs.
It's close to us.
It's about an hour away.
Yeah, Crete, Illinois, went to Creekmoney High School.
Yeah.
He's only a sophomore, though. He can come out after this year.
We'll see what
Could
happens.
be scary. He's an Old Miss guy, though. He goes to Old Miss.
I do like that the Chicago Bears are no longer at the bottom of the NFC North, according to this. That's great. Feel bad for my claw-up Carolina Panthers, who fell from going to the playoffs all the way down to number 11 at the bottom here.
I do find it funny that Vikings, Bears, Lions, all under 500.
All suck.
All 7 and 9 and below.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that the Bears and the Vikings are under 500. The Lions, though, you didn't like their draft, but I don't think they did anything to really hurt themselves that much. And the Domkins, too,
They don't
of
have
course,
a defense.
not being there.
They don't have a defensive line. That's it.
Yeah, but you don't need to have the most powerful defensive line. It helped. But they still have Megatron, Stafford,
look at
Golden Tate.
Look at the pick after
Great
the Lions, though, at 15. Houston. Taking Ezekiel Elliott. To me, that was,
that's
okay,
nice.
We're taking the replacement to Arian.
Yeah.
Foster's gone. That's what
You
that
got to
is.
replace guys sometime. Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, going all the way back to the beginning.
But it's like some of this stuff is funny because, like, 17, when you've got, now I'm going to butcher this name. I'm just throwing it out there. Where you got Robert Nikem
Out of Ole Miss.
Dixie out of
the defensive
Ole Miss.
lineman out of Ole Miss.
Totally butchered that name. I remember staying up late for National Signing Day when it was, 2 or 3 years ago, and covering when this kid was recruited by Ole Miss. And now we're already talking, like, we're getting to that point, Mark, where people that I know me a little bit more than you, because I paid attention to the college game, guys that I'm covering getting recruited to college are now creeping into my mock drafts.
Yeah.
It's a little surreal. It's like, whoa, I'm getting old.
You're an old man.
I'm the old kook in the room.
Not old enough to where you need to be replaced by your backup Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm once again just throwing it back out there. It just needs to be done.
Can I ask one question before we end the podcast?
You're allowed to, yeah.
How would you feel if the Bears next year, if he came out, if it all fell into place, if they drafted Kendall Fuller? You got Kendall and Kyle on each side.
First of all, I would love it because I love having the brothers together. Second of all, I would hate it because I'd say, what's the point? We already got Kyle Fuller here. Yeah, we probably do need another corner, but guys, stop ignoring the gaping hole that was left by Chris Conte's departure. We need to replace Chris Conte. He did wonderful things for the Bears. Maybe. I'm not sure if
maybe.
Here's the thing. I don't think anyone remembers what those wonderful things are, but Lovie Smith assured me that he was good. So I don't know. But you know what? He did the same about Rex Grossman, and I'm still trying to remember what good things Rex Grossman did too. We did go to a Super Bowl. Maybe that's what it was.
And Rex got sprinkles on his ice cream after that Super Bowl.
You know the good thing about Rex Grossman, I just remember now, he was one of the few quarterbacks that was able to throw 5 interceptions and still win a game. Impressive.
Hey, Matt Ryan did that too.
He did. They're one of the few. I can do it in Madden. Rex Grossman can do it in the NFL.
I still remember making a meme for one of the games because earlier in that season, whatever one it is, I think it was 2 years ago, Matt Ryan throws 5 interceptions in a game.
I think it was last season, I think. I'm not positive.
No, it had to be 2 years ago because I was still dating my ex-girlfriend at the time.
There you go.
And he throws 5 interceptions and wins the game. Later that season, he plays the Saints. Drew Brees throws 5 interceptions, loses the game. And I still remember to this day making a meme where it's like them shaking hands. It goes, "Don't worry, Drew. Not everyone can throw 5 INTs and still win the game."
And then you have the Star Wars ghost face of Rex Grossman up there being like, "I'm proud of both of you."
Yeah, I can do it too.
Hey, guys, you're an elite company right here with this Super Bowl going quarterback. Not winning, but I went.
Hey, Rex Ryan, Rex Grossman then would, not only does he throw 5 INTs with them, just like Drew Brees goes to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. He does.
Except Drew Brees won one.
This is
Rex
kind of
Grossman did not.
This is very much like the whatever 7 separation of Kevin Bacon or whatever that thing is called. You know, how close can we get these quarterbacks? What is the one thing that Drew Brees and Rex Grossman have in common? They both went to a Super Bowl. I'm not saying Rex Grossman is Drew Brees, but I mean they did both go to a Super Bowl. You guys can
just
connect
like Nick
the dots.
Foles is just as good as Peyton Manning.
I'm not saying that he's as good as Peyton Manning, but some would say they are pretty equal in some degree.
They are pretty
in some parts of the game.
They did both throw, what was it, 7 touchdowns in a game?
They both tied the record. I believe it is 7.
7 or 8, whatever the record is. But that is going to do it for the Onside Kick this week. As always, tell us what you think about whatever we talked about today. Most importantly, though, tell us about what you think about Mark. I tried to not say it. You know what? I'm going to say Deflateocalypse.
There you go.
I'm going to say that one. Tell us what you think about Deflateocalypse.
Answer the question.
Do you think Tom Brady's done in New England? Do you think? Tell us down below. Also, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ricky Widmer. Mark is at the with 2 E's, Mark Weber. And you can follow MVP Network at Most Valuable Pod. That's going to do it for the Onside Kick. I will see you guys next week. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.